Megalodon. Megalodon was the shark that turned ancient oceans into hunting grounds. At nearly 18 meters long and weighing up to 60 tons, it was one of the largest predators Earth has ever seen. But its true weapon was hidden inside its jaws. Megalodon had an estimated bite force of around 180,000 newtons, strong enough to crush through massive prey with terrifying force. Its teeth could reach 18 centimeters long, shaped like giant serrated blades designed for cutting. And Megalodon did not hunt small targets. It attacked ancient whales. Using surprise and overwhelming power, this giant shark could strike from below and deliver devastating damage before prey could escape. Fossil evidence has even revealed whale bones carrying massive bite marks left behind by this ocean predator. But despite its legendary image, Megalodon never hunted dinosaurs. It appeared millions of years later, ruling the seas from around 23 to 3 million years ago. For millions of years, it stood at the top of the ocean food chain, until the world changed. Cooling oceans, shifting environments, and disappearing prey slowly removed the conditions Megalodon depended on. Even the greatest predator could not defeat a changing planet. The giant shark vanished, and for the first time in millions of years, the oceans no longer belonged to Megalodon. Columbian Mammoth. Columbian Mammoth was the Ice Age giant that turned size into survival. Standing around 4 meters tall and weighing nearly 10 tons, this animal was larger than any elephant alive today. It was not just a mammoth, it was a walking fortress. Around 100,000 years ago, Columbian mammoths roamed across North America. Their enormous bodies allowed them to survive in a world filled with predators, harsh environments, and constant challenges. Their most recognizable weapons were their massive curved tusks. Some could reach around 5 meters long, tools used for fighting, protection, and interacting with the world around them. Unlike the woolly mammoths of the far north, Columbian mammoths preferred more open grasslands and warmer regions. They traveled in herds, shaping the landscapes they moved through. And their greatest defense was cooperation. Young mammoths stayed close to adults, protected by the size and strength of the group. But even a 10-ton giant had limits. As the world changed, temperatures shifted and ecosystems transformed. Then humans arrived, with tools, strategy, and the ability to adapt. By around 10,000 years ago, Columbian mammoths had disappeared. Climate change, environmental pressure, and human activity all played a role in their extinction. For thousands of years, size made them almost unstoppable. But survival is not only about being the biggest. Sometimes it is about adapting the fastest. Argentinosaurus. Argentinosaurus was not just a dinosaur. It was a walking skyscraper. Stretching over 30 meters long and weighing up to 100 tons, it was one of the largest animals to ever walk on land. A creature so massive that standing beside it would feel like standing next to a living building. This giant belonged to a group of dinosaurs known as Titanosaurs, and around 95 million years ago, it moved across what is now Argentina. But unlike predators with sharp teeth and claws, Argentinosaurus survived with a different weapon: size. Its body became its defense. A fully grown adult was simply too massive for most predators to risk attacking. Its femur alone could stand taller than an adult human. And its 12-meter neck allowed it to reach vegetation high above the ground like a living crane. Fossil evidence suggests these giants may have traveled in groups. Imagine an entire herd of 100-ton animals moving across the landscape. The ground itself would have felt alive. But even giants had weaknesses. Young Argentinosaurus were still vulnerable. Powerful predators like Giganotosaurus may have targeted smaller or younger individuals. But a fully grown adult was a different challenge. Too large, too powerful, too much risk. Argentinosaurus did not need to chase or fight to become legendary. Evolution created something simpler: a fortress with a heartbeat. Therizinosaurus. Therizinosaurus looked like evolution created a dinosaur and then changed its mind halfway. A massive body, a tiny head, and claws that looked like they belonged to a nightmare. Growing nearly 10 meters long and weighing up to 5 tons, this was one of the strangest dinosaurs ever discovered. But the biggest surprise was not its appearance. It was what it ate. Despite carrying claws nearly 1 meter long, Therizinosaurus was not a terrifying meat eater. It was a herbivore, a gentle giant carrying some of the most intimidating weapons in dinosaur history. Those enormous claws were not designed for tearing through prey. They were likely used for pulling branches closer, collecting plants, and reaching food other animals could not. But they may have served another purpose: protection. Because even the bravest predator would think twice before attacking something carrying 3 giant blades on each hand. Therizinosaurus lived during the late Cretaceous period in what is now Mongolia, moving through ancient forests on strong legs with one of the most unusual body designs nature ever created. Slow, strange, almost impossible looking. But it worked. Therizinosaurus proved that survival does not always belong to the fastest or the strongest. Sometimes evolution rewards the creature that is simply too different to ignore. Megatherium. Megatherium was a sloth that evolution accidentally turned into a giant. Forget the small, slow animals hanging from trees today. Millions of years ago, their family created something completely different: a 4-ton giant. Reaching around 6 meters from head to tail, Megatherium was one of the largest mammals of the Ice Age. And when it stood on its powerful back legs, it could rise nearly 4 meters high, almost like a living tower. Unlike modern sloths, Megatherium did not climb trees. It did not have to. With massive claws and incredible reach, it could simply pull branches down and bring the forest to itself. Those claws looked like weapons, but they were mostly tools for feeding, digging, and surviving in a prehistoric world. Megatherium lived across South America, sharing the landscape with other Ice Age giants. But around 10,000 years ago, this massive creature disappeared. Climate changes and pressure from humans likely contributed to its extinction. A giant built for a world that was slowly vanishing. Megatherium proved that evolution does not always move in the direction we expect. Sometimes it takes one of the slowest animals on Earth and turns it into a 4-ton giant. Aepyornis. Aepyornis was the bird so massive it looked like it escaped from a legend. Known as the elephant bird, this giant lived on the isolated island of Madagascar. And it became something the modern world has never seen: a feathered giant. Standing around 3 meters tall and weighing more than 500 kilograms, Aepyornis was the heaviest bird ever known to exist. It could not fly, but it did not need to. For millions of years, Madagascar had no large predators hunting it. No lions, no wolves, just forests where size was enough to survive. But the most unbelievable part was not the bird. It was the egg. A single Aepyornis egg could weigh around 10 kilograms, more than 150 times larger than a chicken egg. One egg carried the size of an entire meal supply. For thousands of years, this giant ruled its island world, until humans arrived more than 2,000 years ago. But Aepyornis did not disappear immediately. Humans and elephant birds existed together for nearly 1,000 years, before hunting, habitat changes, and increasing pressure finally pushed them beyond recovery. By around 1000 to 1200 AD, the giants were gone, a creature that survived millions of years of evolution, reduced to bones, stories, and memories of the largest bird that ever walked the earth: Diprotodon. Diprotodon was what happens when evolution turns a wombat into a giant. This was not a small animal hiding underground. This was a 3-ton titan walking across ancient Australia. As the largest marsupial ever discovered, Diprotodon stretched around 3 meters long. Imagine something like a wombat built to the size of a rhinoceros. A massive body, a powerful frame, and a world where giant animals still ruled. For over 1 million years, Diprotodon moved through Australian landscapes, grazing on plants, shaping ecosystems, and carving paths through ancient forests and open environments. Unlike many prehistoric giants, it did not survive through sharp teeth or deadly weapons. Its advantage was size. In a land filled with megafauna, Diprotodon became one of the most successful plant eaters of its time. But even giants can disappear. Around 45,000 years ago, Diprotodon vanished, and scientists are still debating why. Was it climate change, human activity, or a combination of both? Whatever the answer, the result was permanent. Australia's age of giants came to an end. Today, only fossils, ancient evidence, and stories remain. A reminder that this continent was once home to a creature that looked impossible. The wombat that evolution forgot to stop growing. Dinotherium. Dinotherium was the elephant that looked like evolution built it upside down. Instead of giant tusks pointing forward and upward like modern elephants, its tusks curved downward from the lower jaw. A design so unusual that scientists are still asking one question: why? Were they used for digging, pulling branches, removing bark from trees, or simply showing strength? The mystery remains. But one thing is certain: Dinotherium was enormous. Standing around 4 meters tall and weighing nearly 10 tons, this ancient giant was one of the most impressive elephant relatives to ever exist. For more than 20 million years, it walked across Europe, Asia, and Africa. While countless other animals disappeared, Deinotherium adapted. It survived changing landscapes, different climates, and entire shifts in the prehistoric world. But even successful giants do not last forever. Around 1 million years ago, Dinotherium vanished. There was no single dramatic ending, no instant disaster. It slowly disappeared as the world around it changed. Dinotherium proved one of evolution's oldest rules. Even the strangest designs can succeed for millions of years, but nothing stays on top forever.